Good morning, all. I am Mr. Ishitu Tasfaye, your biology teacher. Welcome to today's lesson. This is week 11, day number 2. The lesson for today is Understanding Circulatory System Diseases, which is the extension of chapter 33, lesson number 2, Blood and Lymphatic System, as described in your textbook, page 959 to 961. Lesson objective. The objective of today's lesson is to describe the connection between cholesterol and circulatory system disease. Now, let's ask ourselves a very important question. What is the connection between cholesterol and circulatory system disease? Research indicates that high cholesterol levels, along with other risk factors, lead to atherosclerosis and higher risk of heart attack. What is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a lipid that is part of animal cell membranes. It is also used in the synthesis of some hormones, bile and vitamin D. Cholesterol is transported in the blood primarily by two types of lipoproteins. These are low-density lipoproteins, LDL, and high-density lipoproteins, HDL. What are lipoproteins, by the way? Lipoproteins, as the name indicates, are compounds that are made from lipids and proteins. Let's differentiate between high-density lipoprotein and low-density lipoprotein. Low-density lipoprotein, LDL, is the cholesterol carrier that is most likely to cause trouble in the circulatory system because it becomes part of plaque. We usually consider LDL as a bad cholesterol. HDL, often called good cholesterol, generally transports excess cholesterol from tissues and arteries to the liver for removal from the body. Let's look at the source of cholesterol. What are the sources of cholesterol? There are two main sources of cholesterol. The first one is the liver naturally manufactures cholesterol, which is then transported through the blood to tissues. The second main source of cholesterol is that humans consume cholesterol in meat, eggs, dairy products, and fried foods, especially if those foods are high in saturated or trans fats. Great. What is the relationship between cholesterol and atherosclerosis? Research indicates that high cholesterol levels, along with other risk factors, lead to atherosclerosis and high risk of heart attack. Researchers Michael Brown and Joseph Goldstein won the Nobel Prize in 1985 for their research of what controls the level of cholesterol in the blood. Brown and Goldstein won the Nobel Prize in 1985 because of their contribution in identifying the two types of LDL receptors on cell membranes. The two types of LDL receptors are normal LDL receptors and defective LDL receptors. Now, let's look at how normal LDL receptors work to avoid the risk of atherosclerosis and other circulatory system complications. The diagram on the right illustrates how normal LDL receptors on cell membranes deal with different levels of LDL in the blood. As you can see on the diagram, the very first step that happens is that LDL from the blood binds to receptors on the cell membrane. Then the vesicles engulf the LDL into the inside of the cell. Then the vesicle is broken down and the receptors are recycled for another cycle. Finally, LDL is broken down and its components are stored or used to make more cholesterol and bile. When blood cholesterol levels are high, liver cells take cholesterol from the blood and do not make it. On the contrary, when blood cholesterol levels are low, the liver produces it. Brown and Goldstein also found that some people carry genes that produce defective LDL receptors, causing two main problems. These are: first, without working LDL receptors, liver cells can't remove cholesterol from the blood. Second, these liver cells do not get the signal to stop producing cholesterol. People with defective LDL receptors have very high cholesterol levels even if they don't eat much cholesterol or fat. From genetic disease to the public, Brown and Goldstein learned that people who eat high-fat diets store excess cholesterol in their liver cells. Those cells then stop making LDL receptors and removing cholesterol from the blood. The excess cholesterol is then deposited in arteries. A diet that is high in cholesterol can cause symptoms similar to those of a genetic disease. Brown's and Goldstein's work also led to the development of drugs that can help people with high cholesterol. For example, statins block the synthesis of cholesterol in liver cells, stimulating the liver to produce more LDL receptors, which then remove excess cholesterol from the blood. Finally, let's look at how you can keep your circulatory system healthy. Prevention of heart disease starts when you are young with healthy habits that include a balanced diet, regular exercise, and avoid smoking. A healthy diet lowers the risk of your liver's failing to regulate cholesterol properly and may protect your arteries from developing atherosclerosis. Exercise strengthens your heart muscles and helps your circulatory system work efficiently. Never starting to smoke will protect your circulatory system from the many dangerous chemicals in the smoke. Let's conclude today's lesson by answering the following lesson check questions. Question number 1. What are the risk factors for the 3 common diseases of the circulatory system? The risk factors for the 3 common diseases of the circulatory system are high-fat diet, lack of exercise, being overweight, smoking, having diabetes, age, family history, and gender. Question number 2. What are the 2 types of cholesterol carriers found in the blood? The 2 types of cholesterol carriers in the blood are high-density lipoproteins and low-density lipoproteins. Question number 3. Explain how high blood cholesterol develops in someone with a genetic disorder versus someone who eats a high-fat diet. In an individual with a genetic disorder, the liver cells cannot take up LDL from the blood, so they keep producing cholesterol. While in an individual who eats a high-fat diet, excess cholesterol builds up in the liver cells, which stop making LDL receptors and no longer remove cholesterol from the blood. That's all for today. Thank you very much for your time and see you very soon.